Have you ever faced a moment in your life where the problem in front of you felt so big that it made you feel small, almost invisible? Have you ever looked at a challenge and thought, this is not for someone like me, or whispered to yourself, I'm not ready, I'm not strong enough, I'm not chosen? And what if the real reason you feel weak has nothing to do with your ability, but everything to do with the story you keep telling yourself? This is not just a story from long ago. This is a story about every time you doubted your place in the world, every time you waited for permission, every time you prepare in silence while others laugh, ignore you, or tell you to stay where you were. Long ago, in a wide and fertile land called Valenreach, there stood a kingdom known for its order and peace. People trust their rulers. They believed effort mattered. They believed that if you worked honestly, life would eventually meet you halfway. At the heart of this kingdom ruled King Raymond, a man respected not because people feared him, but because he listened. He ruled with calm judgment and carried the weight of responsibility without pride. By his side was Queen Margaret, thoughtful and steady, and their daughter, Princess Eleanor, whose presence softened every room she entered. She was not admired for luxury or power, but for empathy. She listened to servants the same way she listened to nobles. She noticed people others walking past, and because of that, the people loved her deeply. Far from the palace walls, beyond the busy streets and guarded gates, lived a young American-born settler's son named Lucas Carter. His family had come to Valenreach years earlier, seeking stability, not glory. Lucas was the youngest of 7 brothers, smaller, quieter, and often forgotten. While his brothers trained, traded, or talked loudly about ambition, Lucas spent his days alone in the open fields as a shepherd. His world was quiet, but it was never easy. The hills were wide and unforgiving. Wolves hunted when the sun fell. Storms came without warning. Every day demands attention, patience, and courage. To protect his flock, Lucas learned to use a slingshot. At first, he failed constantly. His hands trembled, stones missed their mark. Sometimes he went home frustrated and ashamed. But no one else was coming to protect his sheep, so he practiced, slowly, repeatedly, in silence. Over time, something changed. His aim steadied, his breathing slowed down, his fear no longer controls his hands. What once felt impossible became natural, not because he was gifted, but because he refused to stop. And when the sheep rested at sunset, Lucas mends hark. His voice was soft but steady. Music was how he processed the day. It reminded him that even alone, even unnoticed, his presence still mattered. Inside him lived a quiet dream. He wanted to serve the kingdom. He wanted to protect people the way he protected his flock. But whenever he spoke about joining the army, his family dismissed it. They told him he was too young, too small, too inexperienced. They told him to wait until he became someone else. So Lucas stayed where he was, but he never stopped preparing. One spring, news spread through Valenreach that Princess Eleanor's birthday will be celebrated with a grand festival. For the first time in many years, the palace announced a competition open to anyone in the kingdom. Musicians and singers from all regions were invited to perform. When Lucas heard this, something stirred inside him, a pull he couldn't explain. Not ambitious, not proud, just a quiet feeling that said, go.
Against his family's doubts, he traveled to the palace. The great hall was filled with performers wearing fine clothes, trained voices, and confident smiles. Lucas stood among them unnoticed, wearing simple clothes, until it was his turn. When he began to sing, the room changed. His voice carried honesty, not polished. It speaks of long days, silent effort, unseen struggle, and faith built alone. The room grew still. Even the king leans forward. Even the princess felt something shift inside her. When the final note faded, no one clapped at first. They simply sat in silence, absorbing something they hadn't expected. Lucas was declared the winner. As Princess Eleanor placed the medal around his neck, their eyes met briefly. There was no romance yet, only recognition. Two people shaped by humility. But peace is fragile. That same night, a messenger burst into the hall, pale and shaking. He announced that a neighboring kingdom had declared war and marched with a creature of monstrous size, a beast unlike any man. Celebration disappears instantly. At dawn, King Raymond led his army to battle. Soldiers fought bravely, but when the monster entered the field, fear spread. The creature tore through lines effortlessly. Even the king was struck down, gravely wounded. From the enemy came a cruel offer. If one champion defeats the beast, the invasion will stop. If not, Valenreach will fall. Back at the palace, the wounded king made one final decree. Whoever defeated the creature would rule the kingdom after him and marry his daughter. Still, no one stepped forward. When Lucas heard the news, he felt no excitement, only clarity. That night, he stood before his family and calmly said he would fight. They laughed, confessed, warned him of death. Lucas did not argue. He simply said that he had faced stronger than himself before, and that courage grew from preparation, not size. At the palace, servants tried to dress him in heavy armor. He could barely move. He removed it gently and said he couldn't fight wearing someone else's strength. He walked on to the battlefield with only his slingshot and a pouch of stones. The enemy laughed. The monster roared. Lucas didn't rush. He breathed. He remembered the quiet days, the missed shots, the patience built when no one was watching. He took one stone, he aimed, and he released. The stone struck true. The giant fell. The battlefield went silent, then erupted in cheers. Valenreach was saved. Lucas became king not because he was the strongest, but because he was the most prepared. And this is the truth you must carry with you. The giant in your life is not unbeatable. You've just been measuring it by the wrong standards. Real strength is built quietly, daily, when no one is watching. And when your moment comes, you will already be ready.